A very happy morning to all of you children. Welcome to the science class. Today, children, as you all are aware, we are on the chapter number 14. That's light chapter. And do you all remember what was discussed in the last class? Children, in the last class, we have studied about definition of light. We did study about reflection of light, laws of reflection, and characteristics of the image formed by a plane mirror. These are the topics that we have covered in our previous class. In today's class, we will be studying something more about reflection and also how do we see things as well. So these are the topics that we'll be studying today. Starting with the basic topic that was also discussed in the last class, reflection. So do you all remember what is reflection, children? We have defined in the previous class, reflection is actually bouncing back of the light from the surface of an object, right? So children, reflection is basically of the light falling in on object. So जो ये light होती है, it actually comes in the form of rays. Yeah? So a group of light rays coming from the same source in the same direction is called as a beam of light. Now there are three types of beams of light. That is parallel beam, convergent beam and divergent beam of light. How do we go ahead and differentiate them? If you look here at the diagram, the beams of light that are parallel to each other are called as parallel beam of light. Convergent beam of light are the beams of light which actually converge or appear to meet at a point. An example here would be the light rays or the beam of light come into our eyes and converge at retina so that we can actually see the objects. So that is an example of convergent beam of light, जहाँ पे एक side जो beam of light है, they appear to meet at a point. Moving on to the third type of beam of light, that is divergent beam of light. Divergent beam of light is beams of light which actually spread or appear to spread. It diverges from a point. The best or common example would be the headlights of car. Yes, if you see उस light के अंदर से जो light आ रही है, beam of light आ रही है, it is actually getting spread. या फिर आपका जो bulb room में जो bulb जल रहा है, that is also another example of divergent beam of light. So students, when a parallel beam of light falls on a polished surface, it is reflected back, right, in one direction. Whereas when a parallel beam of light falls on a rough surface, it is reflected back in many directions. Now based on this reflection type, reflecting surfaces, we can categorize reflection into two types. That is regular reflection and diffuse reflection. Now we will go ahead and study one by one regular reflection and diffuse reflection. Here you can see the images. Starting with the regular reflection here, students. Regular reflection is also called as specular reflection. Specular term basically means with this term is related with mirror. Mirror kind of reflection that is formed is called as regular reflection. In this reflection, this kind of reflection can be seen from polished surfaces. For example, when your mother brings new stainless steel plate, आप उसमें very clearly you can see your image. So that is actually a surface which is showing regular reflection and your image so formed is clear. Here in this regular reflection, reflected rays are parallel to each other. मैथ्स में आपने ये पैरेलल टर्म सुना हुआ है, राइट? So the parallel lines, what happens? They don't bisect or they don't meet each other, as you can see here in the diagram of the regular reflection. Here the incidence ray and here the reflected rays are parallel to each other, and the reflected rays, they are moving in one direction. They are not, they are evenly moving in one direction. Yeah. So the image is so formed can be seen in the reflecting surface. Some examples of the regular reflection are plane mirror, unused stainless steel plates, and water. Talking about the diffuse reflection, children, diffuse reflection is also called as irregular reflection. The reason it is called as irregular reflection, because here you can see the reflected rays are moving irregularly or in uneven way, right? So it is a reflection from rough or irregular surfaces. The reflected rays move in various direction, in different direction. And because of this, the images so formed are diffused or are irregular, or we can say they are not very clear to us or not as same as the object. Some example where we see the diffused reflection is scratched mirrors, rippling water, and the old stainless steel plate that I have talked earlier. When you have used the stainless steel plate, it has been washed many times using the scrubber, your scotch brite. That time the surface becomes irregular. So the used stainless steel plate might show the diffuse reflection. Yes, so this was about types of reflection based upon the reflecting surfaces. Regular reflection has the surface which is smooth or polished, whereas the diffuse reflection shows it can be seen on the rough surfaces. All right, children, so that was about regular and diffuse reflection. The next topic that we have for today is, how do we see things? How are we able to see things? ये आप सबने कभी सोचा है that this is a very clicking question, that how are we able to see? We do have a sense organ that help us to see, right? Eyes. But how are we able to see the objects? Now children, if you recall your previous classes, you have studied about the luminous objects, non-luminous objects, right? Objects that emit their own light are called as luminous objects. And the one which don't have their own light, they are called as non-luminous objects like table, chair, paper. Yes. And the luminous ones are sun, stars, bulb, torch. So these are the luminous objects. Luminous bodies are the sources of light, and because of them, they have light, we are able to see them. Now, how about the non-luminous bodies? How are we able to see them? These non-luminous bodies, which are not able to emit their own light, they can be seen only in the presence of luminous bodies. When the light coming from a luminous body strikes and get reflected from a non-luminous body, it enters our eyes, and these rays of light fall on the retina at the back of our eye, from where they reach the brain through the nerves, and brain actually comprehends the image. Retina is part of the eye, and from the retina the message is passed on to the brain through the nerves, and then the brain actually comprehends or interprets the image formed on the retina, in helping us to see the object. So did we all understood that how are we able to see the objects? Luminous objects, obviously they have their own light, so we are able to see the objects, right? However, जो non-luminous bodies होती हैं, उनको क्या है, उनको light की require, we are able to view the or see the non-luminous bodies because of the light entering into our eyes. When the light from the luminous bodies fall, let's say sun से light chair पे पड़ी, chair is a non-luminous body, from here the sun has sent the light, ray of light has fallen on the object, that is chair. Now from there the light gets reflected, and this reflected light enters into our eye. Yeah, these rays of light fall on the retina part at the back of our eye, from where they reach the brain through the nerves. And उसके बाद हमारा brain जो है that actually interprets the image so formed on the retina, helping us to see the objects. Yes, so children, can you all tell me what could be the conditions that are actually required to view the, or that can actually help us to see things? The first one would be very obvious, a source of light, right? Then the light must strike the object and the light must be reflected from the object. These are actually the conditions required to see an object. Alright? So please learn this, that remember these conditions which are actually required to view or to see the objects. There must be a source of light, the light must strike the object, and the light must be reflected from the object to the eye. These are the three important conditions which are actually required for us to be able to see the object. The next topic for today that we have is multiple images, children. I am sure हम सब मॉल जाते हैं. मॉल में when we go into the changing room, if we try some clothes and we go into the changing room में 2 mirrors लगे होते हैं, or maybe more than 2. Yeah, when we try the new clothes, we are able to see our back, front part of the body, so that we can see if the cloth is properly fitting us or if it is suiting to us, right? So how are those multiple images formed, children? Another place where you would have seen multiple images is at the barber's place or a salon. Yeah, where you go for a haircut. Yes, children, वहाँ पे क्या होता है, एक आपके सामने मिरर लगा होता है और there is one mirror behind you and you are able to view the haircut being just behind, or maybe the hair that you're not able to view in front, you're able to view those hairs on the other mirror, right? So this happens because of multiple images. अब हमारी normal image किससे बनती है? That happens because of the reflection. So what would be the reason behind multiple images? The reason behind multiple images is multiple reflection. And what is actually multiple reflection? It is the phenomena in which we get multiple images of the object because the image formed by one mirror acts as an object for the second mirror. Let me give you an example here. Let's say we have an object O and we have two mirrors, that's M and M dash. Yeah? और हमारे पास है object O. So when we place the object in front of the mirror, it will form an image on M, right? And now from M, the incident ray will get reflected here. It will get reflected multiple times. That will result in the formation of multiple images. So यहाँ पे we have the image as A, B, C, D, E and F, right? So there will be multiple images formed if we have more than one mirror placed. So in this way, the multiple images are formed. You can also actually try this activity at home. It's very simple. आप दो छोटे mirrors ले लीजिए. I'm sure 2 small mirrors would be available at home, and you can place these mirrors at different angles and keep some small object like a matchbox or a small bottle in front of it and see how many images are formed. So this way you can understand the concept of multiple images. Now children, because the number of images so formed on the mirrors, we can actually go ahead and calculate the number of images that will be formed by the angles between the two mirrors. We have a formula using which we can actually calculate how many images will be formed if we know the angle between the two mirrors. The formula that is being used here is n is equal to 360 by a minus 1. A is actually the A is actually the angle between the two mirrors. If you look at your textbook at page number 232, the formula given is small n is equal to 360 by theta minus 1, where n is the number of images and theta. Theta here on this image is a, small a. So it is the angle between the two mirrors. By using this formula, we can actually calculate the number of images that will be formed by the mirrors if they are kept at a certain angle. So let us go ahead and do a couple of questions to understand how this formula helps us to calculate the number of images. Looking at the first question which we have, it states that calculate the number of images formed when the angle between two mirrors is 72 degree. So can you tell me what is the information that is being given here? We have been given the angle that is 72 degree between the two mirrors. So now we will put the value of theta in the formula and try to find out how many images are formed. Looking at the solution, as mentioned, theta is equal to 72 degree, right? And we have the formula as n is equal to 360 by theta minus 1. We all know that 360 when divided by 72 gives us 5. So 5 minus 1 gives 4, which means number of images so formed are 4. So I hope you're now able to understand how the formula will give us the number of images formed by the mirrors by having the angle between them. We will go ahead and do one more question here. The question states, what will be the angle between two mirrors if the number of images formed is 8? Now this is a different question from the previous one, as we have the number of images here, which is 8, and we don't have the angle here. So we need to find out theta, and we have the value of n here. So children, looking at the solution here, n is equal to 8 and we need to find out theta. We will bring 1 to the left hand side. By coming to the left hand side, the sign of 1 will change. So it will get added to the n. N was 8 plus 1, that is equal to 9, right? 9 is equal to 360 degree by theta. And when we cross multiply 9 and theta, we get theta is equal to 360 by 9, which is 40 degree. So this is how we get the angle between two mirrors as 40, which will form the images as 8 in number. So this was all about multiple images, children. Also in today's class, we have studied about how we see things and regular and diffuse reflection. Please go through the video thoroughly. After watching the video, read the textbook, watch the YouTube links. Also, we are sending you the PDF for the topics that have been taught. If you have any doubt, we always have WhatsApp available, or else the Zoom class is there. We can have a discussion on your doubts if you have any. So children, Enjoy e learning and have a nice day ahead. Thank you.